I started painting and, well, I would say 1999 is when I finished at the Victoria College of Art. So that's when I would say I started painting. It was mostly part-time because I had to, of course, work. And I did all sorts of funny little jobs as well as keep painting and teach painting and drawing. And then when I got engaged, I thought, oh, someone's going to house me and feed me. And that's when I really, really focused on doing art full-time. And so that would have been 2004. And I worked, I really enjoyed working and painting and teaching, and then I decided to have kids 2008. So now we're in 2015, and I'm really starting to do art again full time because the kids are older, and I have a little bit more time to devote to it.
Talking about the paintings, your paintings, can you tell us a little bit about your technique, how you start and how you finish one of the paintings?
I start a painting by roughing in the big areas of color, and I really very, very rarely, I'm sorry, it's so strange talking to the lens and not talking to you. I just had to say that because it was driving me nuts. Okay, now I can focus. What I found was that if folk draw too much on their canvas, then it becomes a drawing rather than a painting. So I try to take a big brush, as big as possible, work in the large areas of color, and get more and more detailed as I go along. So my paintings here, where there's so much detail, especially in this one with all the netting, you wouldn't recognize that painting as a beginning. At the beginning, it's just orange blobs with a dark background and a light foreground. Get the composition like I wanted. Look at the composition in the mirror. I got that trick from Robert Bateman. Look at it upside down. See if it makes me happy, just where everything's placed, and then start to put in the tones, then start to refine the colors, and really, really... what I tell my students and what I really try to practice is to observe everything. And you don't have to put everything you see in your painting. But if you don't see it in the first place, you don't get to choose whether you put it in or leave it out of your painting. So I really, really, really try to observe everything and then make conscious decisions from that starting point. So that's basically my technique. I do work from an iPad. Before I had kids, I could set up a still life and leave it there and work away for 3 or 4 days, and they're in oils, but even 3 or 4 days they'll dry enough to work. I work a lot of wet on wet, but with kids it's just not practical. Like with the 3 mandarin oranges over there, I had that set up for a couple of days on the windowsill so it was backlit, because I really, really like how the light shines through the oranges and shines through the glass, shines through the paper. But those 3 oranges sitting on the windowsill were too tempting for my little boy, who hopped up and grabbed the orange and ate it. And so then I was really glad I had photos on the iPad to work from, because then I could go back and all was not lost. So there are things I've changed since I've had kids that are, the iPad is actually far more useful than I ever thought it would be.
Do you do plein air sometimes?
Sometimes I do, but I get cold. I get really cold, and I don't think it's romantic to be out there. It's raining right now. I don't see any romance in being miserable outside in the cold and rain painting. No. I might draw outside. I might do little watercolor sketches outside. I like doing that. But to actually drag my canvas and my paint anywhere other than my backyard, I would never do it. Maybe my backyard, I'll paint outside sometimes, but no, I like to paint in my studio. It's climate controlled. I can make it warm. I can make it cool if I need to. Much more comfortable. Yes.
Do you work on series, or how you work?
I can't say I work really with a series in mind ever. I might think of one thing that will spark another thing that will spark another thing. So it's a very organic process, if that's the right word. I seem to, I'm stuttering here because it's a little bit hard to describe, but I notice a series more when I've completed a body of work like I've done for this show, and then I can stand back and think, yeah, they all go together. There's a unifying theme. I see this now. While I'm working on it, I don't see it. It's only afterwards I can say, yeah, there's like it's a big one big run-on sentence, I think, which isn't surprising because I'm a bit of a motor mouth. But you know, I started with the paintings behind me. I'm trying to think which I did first. It was part of the fruit series. I just like painting fruit. It's that luminosity, it's that glowy quality, and then of course the glass. So I had a plate of strawberries, and that one has found a home, which is great. And then I did the cherries because somehow that was strawberries and cherries. And then I did the oranges, and then the pomegranate when it was pomegranate season. So there's a few months separating the oranges and the pomegranates, but they're still part of a series in my mind, even though they weren't sequential. But there's still kind of that, part of that run-on sentence, I would say.
So speaking about the show, all the paintings here were made for the show, or do you paint all the time and then do you choose for the show? How it work?
Not all of these paintings were made for the show. There are two paintings which were painted before I had children. The one is the young wine, and then the one just outside the gallery, the large one with glass. Those ones were before I had kids. But every single painting I've managed to do since I've had children. And with the show in mind, I think I've done about 6 or 7, so about half, roughly half. I really wanted more. Of course, I think every artist wants to get more done for her show, but things go sideways when you have kids. Kids get sick, and then they give it to you, and then Christmas comes, and of course you can't work through Christmas when you've got kids, and then there's birthday parties, and so this show is really neat because I had to genuinely let things go for the show. I had to really, really think hard about who is the priority, and of course my kids are the priority. And I had to be okay with that. I had to accept that. So I'm really proud of the show, and I'm really proud of the amount of work I have for the show. Yes, I wanted more, and that's part of the reason I got the bicycle painting in the window, because I really wanted that bicycle painting in the show. And I had to be okay that it just didn't get done. Sometimes you just don't get everything done, and you can't stay up. I can't stay up till midnight and get up at 10 in the morning and keep working. It doesn't work like that anymore. It used to, not anymore, and that's okay. It's just accepting that change.
Show or something.
Sure.
Anything
Okay.
that has to do with the art, visual arts.
The tissue paper.
It is. It looks different. It looks like this looks darker.
Yeah.
So I would make this a little bit darker still, like in the black and white, and then bring in the tree over top.
Yeah, I was gonna make them a little bit shorter because they should actually, the road tree.
Okay. Yeah. And that's a good opportunity to add more in the back and more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with this shadow, all that color I think. It's gonna be a darker red. Oh, no, I forgot.
That's a good time. Do you ever cook with that?
Maybe I should
Yeah,
start this one and say.
I
also love
it.
the knife.
Cooking methods of fennel.
Yeah.
What a really nice way is to just.
Isn't the light pretty in this? You don't want it, no, you'll never get rid of it.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Seems like it flows.
That's done right.
If they cook it with combined instructions.
good.
It was
Very
a
nice.
great opening. Oh, no.
It was a good opening.
It's good crowd.
Yeah. I did that.
Looking over here with some more over.
Yeah, I like that.
You agree? Oh, good.
I do agree. I do agree.
Glass.
Yeah.
And if you leave the trees to the end, what will happen is that they're not gonna, they won't be super cohesive. So anytime you, and it's, and part of
The tissue paper.
it is, it looks different. It looks like there's this looks darker.
Yeah.
So I would make this a little bit darker still, like in the black and white, and then bring in bringing the trees over top.
Yeah, I was gonna make them a little bit shorter because they should actually, the row of trees is